Are you committed to eating healthy, yet your energy bottoms out by mid-afternoon? Or your weight refuses to budge no matter how strictly you follow a meal plan? Here's the truth. This isn't a willpower problem. It's a metabolic problem. And if we want a New Year's resolution that actually sticks, one that transforms your energy, weight, hormones, sleep, and long-term health, we need to start with what's really going on inside your body. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your body like a car engine. Fuel quality, timing, and how efficiently that fuel is burned determines the power, smoothness, and longevity of the engine. Right now, too many of us are filling up with the wrong kind of fuel at the wrong time, and then wondering why the engine sputters, feels sluggish, or stores fuel as fat instead of using it for energy. What the research shows is that poor metabolic health, including insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, and disrupted circadian rhythms, underlies most modern chronic diseases and stubborn weight gain. Improving metabolic health isn't a cosmetic goal. It's the root cause pathway to better energy, sharper cognition, sustainable fat loss, and longer health span. Lumen.me. So this year, let's reset the focus. Not on arbitrary numbers, not on fleeting motivation, but on science-driven physiologic interventions that move your metabolism toward metabolic flexibility, that ability to burn fat well, regulate blood sugar, and support hormonal balance. In this video, you'll learn 3 core insights. 1. Why timing matters more than calories alone. 2. How your hormonal controls, especially insulin and cortisol, regulate fat storage versus fat burning. 3. What simple, evidence-based daily practices improve metabolic health sustainably. Before we go deeper, let me give you a clear roadmap for where we're going, because clarity creates confidence, and confidence creates follow-through. If you want a New Year's resolution that actually improves your health, the science points us toward 3 foundational principles. These are not trends. They're rooted in human physiology. Here's what we'll focus on. First, we'll talk about metabolic timing, not just what you eat, but when you eat. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your metabolism follows a daily rhythm governed by light exposure, hormones, and insulin sensitivity. Eating at the wrong times, especially late at night, disrupts fat burning, raises blood sugar, and accelerates aging at the cellular level. Fixing timing alone can dramatically improve energy and weight regulation. Second, we'll address insulin and liver health, the hidden drivers of fat storage. Let me be very clear. Weight gain is not simply about excess calories. It's about hormonal signaling. When insulin stays chronically elevated, your liver shifts from burning fat to storing it, even if you're eating healthy foods. We'll break down how to restore insulin sensitivity naturally, without extreme dieting. Third, we'll focus on mitochondrial health, your body's energy factories. If your mitochondria are sluggish, you feel tired, foggy, inflamed, and you age faster. What the research shows is that daily habits like movement, fasting windows, micronutrients, and sleep quality directly determine how well your mitochondria produce clean energy. This is where longevity really begins. So this isn't about a single habit or a 30-day challenge. It's about realigning your daily behaviors with human biology. In the next section, we'll start with the most overlooked, yet most powerful, New Year's resolution you can make: fixing your metabolic timing. If this framework already feels different from what you've tried before, you're on the right track. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your metabolism is not static. It follows a circadian rhythm, a 24-hour biological clock that tells your hormones, enzymes, and even your gut bacteria when to work best. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine a factory that runs most efficiently during daylight hours, when electricity is cheap and workers are alert. If you force that factory to run heavy machinery at midnight, output drops, waste piles up, and systems start breaking down. That's exactly what happens when we eat late at night. What the research shows is that insulin sensitivity is highest earlier in the day and declines as evening approaches. This means the same meal eaten at 8 a.m. is metabolized very differently than at 9 p.m. Late eating leads to higher blood sugar spikes, greater insulin release, and more fat storage, especially around the liver and abdomen. A landmark body of research on time-restricted eating shows that aligning meals with daylight hours improves insulin sensitivity, reduces inflammation, and supports fat burning, even without changing calories. This isn't about eating less. It's about eating in sync with biology. Now here's the mistake most people make with New Year's resolutions. They focus on food quality alone, organic, low-carb, plant-based, but they ignore timing, and then they wonder why progress stalls. Here's a simple, practical protocol you can start this week. Anchor your first meal later, around 9-10 a.m. if possible. Finish your last meal earlier, ideally by 6 to 7 p.m. Create a 12-14 hour overnight fasting window. Keep evening meals lighter and protein-focused. This gentle fasting window gives insulin time to fall, allowing your body to switch from storage mode to repair and fat-burning mode. Your liver begins clearing excess glucose and fat. Growth hormone rises during sleep. Cellular cleanup, autophagy, increases. And here's something important. If you've tried fasting before and felt terrible, it's often because your metabolism wasn't flexible yet. Starting with timing, not restriction, is how you build that flexibility safely. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post clear, science-based health content like this every day to help you fix the root causes, not just chase symptoms. Next, we're going deeper into insulin, the liver, and why stubborn fat is often a hormonal signal, not a calorie issue. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Fat gain is not a calorie problem. It's a hormonal signal. And the hormone at the center of this signal is insulin. Let me explain this with a simple whiteboard analogy. Think of insulin as a traffic cop. When insulin rises, it tells nutrients where to go. Glucose into cells, fat into storage, repair processes on hold. That's normal, temporarily. The problem begins when insulin stays chronically elevated. This often happens even in people who eat healthy. Why? Because the liver, your metabolic control center, becomes overwhelmed. When the liver is repeatedly flooded with glucose from frequent eating, late-night meals, or refined carbohydrates, it starts converting excess sugar into fat. This is how fatty liver develops, even in people who aren't overweight. What the research shows is that insulin resistance almost always begins in the liver. Once the liver stops responding properly to insulin, blood sugar rises, insulin rises further to compensate, and fat storage accelerates, especially in the abdomen. So when someone says, "I eat clean, but I still gain weight," what they're really describing is a liver that can't properly process fuel anymore. Here's the critical insight. As long as insulin stays high, fat burning is locked off. Your body cannot access stored fat, no matter how much you exercise. Now here's the good news. The liver is incredibly responsive to simple, natural interventions. Here's a practical, science-backed reset protocol. Reduce liquid sugars completely. Juices, sweetened drinks, even healthy smoothies. Focus meals around protein first, then fiber-rich vegetables. Limit refined starches, especially at dinner. Add bitter foods, leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, which support liver detox pathways. Walk for 10-15 minutes after meals to blunt insulin spikes. This post-meal walk is powerful. Muscle contractions act like a sponge, pulling glucose out of the bloodstream without insulin. That gives your liver immediate relief. Over time, as insulin sensitivity improves, your body naturally shifts from storage mode to fat-burning mode, without extreme dieting. In the next section, we'll move deeper into mitochondria, the tiny energy engines that determine how youthful, energetic, and resilient your body really is. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Every feeling of energy, every calorie burned, and every signal of aging is controlled by tiny structures inside your cells called mitochondria. These are your body's energy factories. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine thousands of small power plants spread throughout your body. When they're clean, flexible, and well-maintained, they produce steady, efficient energy. When they're damaged or overloaded, they leak waste, create inflammation, and slow everything down. That's fatigue. That's brain fog. That's stubborn fat. That's accelerated aging. What the research shows is that metabolic disease and aging share the same root cause: mitochondrial dysfunction. When mitochondria lose the ability to efficiently switch between burning glucose and burning fat, your metabolism becomes rigid. You crash between meals. You rely on sugar or caffeine. Fat loss stalls. Now here's the mistake most New Year's resolutions make. People try to force fat loss with more exercise, but exercise alone doesn't fix broken mitochondria. In fact, over-exercising can worsen mitochondrial stress if recovery and nutrition aren't aligned. The goal is mitochondrial flexibility, teaching your cells to use fuel cleanly again. Here's how you do that, practically and safely. Daily movement, not extreme workouts. Walking, light resistance, short bursts of intensity. Fasting windows, like the 12-14 hours we discussed. These trigger mitochondrial repair and renewal. Protein sufficiency. Amino acids are structural building blocks for mitochondrial enzymes. Micronutrients like magnesium, B vitamins, and omega-3s, critical for energy pathways. Quality sleep. This is when mitochondria repair oxidative damage. Here's something powerful. Even a 10-minute walk after meals, combined with consistent sleep timing, has been shown to improve mitochondrial efficiency over time. This is why people often report better energy before they lose weight. The engine gets fixed first. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I share clear, research-based strategies like this every day to help you restore energy and metabolic health naturally. In the next section, we'll connect everything together: stress, cortisol, and sleep. Because no metabolic resolution works if your nervous system stays in fight-or-flight mode. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Even with perfect food choices, chronic stress can completely block fat loss, healing, and metabolic repair. The hormone at the center of this is cortisol. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Cortisol is your body's emergency alarm system. When there's a real threat, infection, injury, or danger, cortisol mobilizes energy to keep you alive. That's useful in the short term. But modern stress isn't physical danger. It's emails, deadlines, poor sleep, and constant stimulation. The alarm never shuts off. When cortisol stays elevated, 3 things happen physiologically. 1. Blood sugar rises, because cortisol tells the liver to release glucose. 2. Insulin rises to compensate, which locks fat in storage. 3. Thyroid and sex hormones downshift, slowing metabolism and recovery. This is why many people say, "I eat well and exercise, but my body feels stuck." What the research shows is that sleep disruption and chronic stress impair insulin sensitivity as much as poor diet. Even one night of short sleep can increase insulin resistance the next day. Over time, this pushes the body into conservation mode, storing energy instead of burning it. Here's the key insight. Your body cannot heal, repair, or burn fat efficiently while it perceives danger. So your New Year's resolution must include nervous system regulation, not just nutrition. Here's a practical reset protocol you can implement immediately. Consistent sleep timing. Go to bed and wake up within the same 60-minute window daily. Morning light exposure. 10-15 minutes of natural light to anchor circadian rhythm. Evening light hygiene. Dim lights after sunset. Reduce screen exposure. Slow breathing. 4 to 6 breaths per minute for 5 minutes lowers cortisol directly. Caffeine curfew. No caffeine after early afternoon. These aren't relaxation tips. They're metabolic interventions. When cortisol normalizes, insulin follows. When insulin stabilizes, fat burning resumes. When sleep deepens, mitochondria repair. This is why stress reduction often leads to fat loss without changing diet. Next, we'll bring everything together into a simple, sustainable daily New Year's resolution framework you can actually follow. No overwhelm, no extremes. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your metabolism doesn't respond to motivation. It responds to signals: light, timing, movement, rest, and nutrient availability. So instead of a long list of resolutions that compete for willpower, the most powerful New Year's resolution you can make is this: I will align my daily signals with human biology. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your metabolism like an orchestra. If the instruments come in at random times, food late at night, caffeine too late, sleep too short, stress too high, the music sounds chaotic. But when timing is aligned, the same instruments create harmony, energy, fat burning, mental clarity, and repair. What the research shows is that small, consistent signals beat extreme interventions. The body adapts through repetition, not intensity. So here's a simple daily framework, not a diet, not a challenge, but a metabolic rhythm you can follow. Morning. Wake at a consistent time. Get natural light within the first hour. Delay calories slightly to allow insulin to stay low. Hydrate before caffeine. This tells your brain and liver, daytime has begun, burn fuel efficiently. Midday. Eat protein-forward meals with fiber. Move briefly after eating, even 10 minutes. Keep meals structured, not constant grazing. This supports insulin sensitivity and liver function. Evening. Finish eating earlier. Keep dinner lighter and simpler. Dim lights, reduce stimulation. Create a wind-down routine. This signals repair, fat burning, and hormone balance. Notice something important. Nothing here is extreme. Nothing is restrictive. Yet every step sends a clear biological message. We are safe, fuel is available, and repair can begin. Over time, these signals restore metabolic flexibility. Blood sugar stabilizes, hunger normalizes, energy becomes steady. Fat loss becomes a side effect, not a battle. And here's the most important part. This resolution works because it's sustainable. Your nervous system cooperates. Your hormones respond. Your body stops fighting you. In the final section, we'll recap the key insights. And I'll challenge you to start with just one change today, not next week, not next month. Let's bring everything together. If there's one idea I want you to remember, it's this. Your body is not broken. It's responding exactly as biology predicts. Weight gain, low energy, brain fog, poor sleep, These aren't random failures, they're signals. And when you understand the signals, you can change the outcome. Here's what we covered. First, timing matters. Eating in alignment with your circadian rhythm allows insulin to rise when it should and fall when it needs to. This creates space for fat burning, repair, and cellular cleanup overnight. You're not eating less, you're eating smarter. Second, insulin and liver health are the gatekeepers of fat loss. As long as insulin stays high, fat stays locked away. But when you reduce frequent eating, remove liquid sugars, prioritize protein, and move after meals, the liver regains control, and metabolism follows. Third, mitochondria determine how young and energetic you feel. These tiny energy engines respond to movement, fasting windows, micronutrients, and sleep. When mitochondria work well, energy improves first, and fat loss becomes a natural byproduct. And finally, stress and sleep decide whether healing is even allowed to happen. Your body cannot repair itself in fight or flight mode. Regulating cortisol through consistent sleep, light exposure, breathing, and evening calm isn't optional. It's foundational. So what should your New Year's resolution really be? Not eat less, not work out harder, not be more disciplined. Instead, let it be this: I will send my body the right signals, consistently. That's it. And here's my challenge to you. Don't try to do everything at once. Pick one change today. Finish dinner earlier. Take a 10-minute walk after meals. Go to bed 30 minutes sooner. Delay your first meal slightly. Get morning light consistently. Track how your body responds: energy, hunger, sleep, focus. Because when you work with physiology instead of against it, the body always responds. If this video added value, like it and subscribe. You'll join a community focused on optimizing health naturally, without extremes or medication. Your body already knows how to heal. Your New Year's resolution is simply to let it. If you want, next I can. Optimize this for HeyGen, TTS pacing. Create a YouTube description plus pinned comment. Write short-form clips from this script. Add study references in creator-friendly language. Just tell me.